I did. And when we went to court, he said he was going to be able to do all these things. And because I'm assuming at trial, you're able to, object and be able to testify. When we went to court, he sat there, read off the 355 objections. That was all he said. He didn't fight. He didn't submit all the evidence that I gave him to submit. He didn't fight to say, to be able to have all the online counseling I had done, because I had done that on my own.
This is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm attorney Vince Davis. My co-host is Aaron Carranza. Let's take another call real quick. Lisa from California. Lisa, did you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
Pleasure to talk to you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you. Pleasure's all mine.
Okay. Thank you. So I'll try to be really quick. My daughter was taken from me on February 11th of this year based on false allegations from my brother. When I kicked him out of my apartment for stealing Christmas presents from my daughter, the very next day, he called CPS, and everything was a lie. Even my brother from up in Chico had called, and it was a lie. I told CPS that these were obviously all false allegations and gave him the rundown on my brother's background. And so they still took her. I got a court-appointed attorney the very first time, and he wanted me to take their offer, and I said I can't because I didn't do anything wrong. None of that stuff is true, so I want to fight it. And he didn't want to do much, so I said, okay, well, I don't need you. I'm going to find a private attorney. I did, and when we went to court, he said he was going to be able to do all these things, and because I'm assuming at trial you're able to, object and be able to testify. When we went to court, he sat there, read off the 355 objections. That was all he said. He didn't fight. He didn't submit all the evidence that I gave him to submit. He didn't fight to say, to be able to have all the online counseling I had done, because I had done that on my own. He didn't fight for that. He submitted. He didn't do anything but just sit there. I asked him to fight to get more time for visits for my daughter. He didn't do anything. And I told him that I didn't think it was fair for, you just to sit there in court. I could have done that by myself. The judge asked to do a hair follicle test. And first he had told me you don't have to, because you have to, they can't ask you to do something to that degree. If they do, you have to be able to be in agreement with it and sign it. Otherwise, they can only ask you to do like the random drug testing. Then he says, oh, yeah, you can't, he was very, back and forth. And he I guess I want to say maybe it's the wrong term. He just didn't want to keep representing me in the middle of it. And I had to find another private attorney, which took me for $3,600 and didn't do nothing for me. And then because he was on attorney on record, he had to come back in and be able to go to court. So my thing is, court's coming up like next week, and I haven't been able to talk to any attorney as to say what my rights are. I know for a fact that I wasn't represented the way that I should have in court. I wasn't able to testify. I wasn't able to do anything. None of my stuff, only a couple of things were submitted, not everything, because if he would have had submitted everything, he said if the opposing, CPS didn't have any evidence to prove any of these were true, the judge should have returned my daughter and closed out the case, but that didn't happen. So I don't know what my next steps are. They said I can put in an appeal, but it's very hard to find somebody who's qualified, because this is not just a statistic in a report. This is my daughter, and I need to get her back home to me.
Right.
I don't know what to do.
Well, let me ask you something. You said you have a hearing next week. Do you know what type of hearing it is?
It was, I don't know. I mean, I think this last one was a trial, so I don't know what comes up after the trial. I guess they wanted me to do the hair follicle test and all these other counseling stuff, but I didn't get any calls for anything. but I didn't want to do anything, even if they did, because I didn't feel like I was represented correctly. So I didn't know what to do. I don't know. I think it's when you go in, the judges, they don't want to see everything that she asked you to do, right? I don't know exactly the title of it.
Well, you see, before I can answer your question, I have to know what they call the procedural posture of your case. Like, where does your case stand? Because, the way I look at these cases, I divide them up into, 5 or 6 different modules. And each module is different. There's a different legal test, there's a different evidentiary burden of proof, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Different laws apply. So before I can tell you what you should do, I need to know the procedural posture. But I can tell you this: if you did lose the jurisdictional and dispositional part of your case, you can file an appeal within 60 days. And I see you're in California, so yeah, you'd have 60 days to file a notice of appeal and to start your appeal, at least that process running.
Okay, can I do that?
2 minutes.
Do I have to get an attorney?
2 minutes.
An attorney. Because I even called your office a couple of times, and one time they talked to me. The next time they never called me back. So it's been very disheartening to be able to speak to somebody that can give me the right advice on what to do.
Well, listen, I'm going to give you a number to call tomorrow, Sunday. Leave your name and telephone number, and I'll call you back tomorrow. 888-888-6582. 888-888-6582. Call after 12 because I think someone is on staff tomorrow answering phones after 12 noon on a Sunday. All right?
They'll be able to get a hold of you for me tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Tell them that you spoke to me on the radio tonight, and then they'll just text me. And, I tell them I said, well, we need to talk today, and they'll just text me the message, and I'll call you right back.
Okay. Then I'll have all my paperwork ready, and I'll let you know exactly.
Okay.
Give me some advice. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Davis.
Thank you for calling, and thank you for listening, Lisa. I appreciate it. Call the listeners back. Call us back in about 3 or 4 weeks. Let us know what happened.